Okay, so in this tutorial, we're going to have a look at the mixer controls on Traktor. The mixer is the section located here in between our two decks, as if you didn't know that already. The default mixer is a two-channel mixer with a three-band EQ section with kill switches on your low, your mid and your high frequency bands. The kill switches are located here. Now you'll see that I've got actually a 4-band EQ setup. That's because this is a type of EQ that I prefer to use. It's based on the Allen and Heath X1 mixers, and if you're wondering how did I set that up, you go into preferences, go into mixer, and you can select classic EQ, which is your 3-band. You'll see 3 bands there. You have a P600, which is another 3-band. You have a Neo, which is a 3-band, and you have the X1, which is the 4-band mixer. It just gives you an extra level of control there. So it's most closely resembling the type of mixer EQ controls that you would find on the Allen and Heath X1. So it gives you a bit more control. But experiment with the different EQs there to find one that you like the sound of. You know that this is just my sort of individual preference. We also have individual filter controls here for each deck, and a filter on and off button. These rotaries can be controlled by dragging, or you can click on the plus or minus to move around in little increments. Obviously all these can be mapped to a MIDI controller as well. If you want to reset the filter control to 0, double click on it and it will return to the 12 o'clock position there. You've also got two types of filter as well in the preferences. You've got a ladder type or the X1 type as well. So again, there are two different sounds to those filters, so have a mess around with them, see what ones you like. I like to use the X1 filter because I've used the mixer quite a lot, so I'm kind of familiar with the sound of it. So that's the one that I would opt for there. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is our key lock, which you can switch on or off here, or you can switch on or off here, and you can control using this rotary here. So why do we want to use key lock? Well, key lock basically means that no matter what tempo your track is currently playing at, the song will always stay in the key in which it was originally made. So I'll give you a little demonstration here of how it affects this piece of music. Right, so that's key lock switched on, okay, and I'm going to increase the pitch. Now, that track has, you can hear, is speeding up, but the key of the music is staying exactly as it was meant to sound. So there's no change there. So if I switch off key lock and increase the pitch, you'll notice a dramatic difference. So again, you know, it's up to you whether you want to use this mode or not, but it just means that no matter what sort of tempo difference there is in your track, that the key is always going to remain the same. Now you can also use this rotary to actually attempt to match the key of a track that's playing in another deck. So to do that, you just use the rotary there to control it. So beneath the key rotary and the key lock there, we have our two effects assign buttons, which you'll see are currently lit. These decide what effects units, which are up here, are going to be used with our decks. So this effects assign here is for deck A. So I'm going to use effects unit 1 and effects unit 2. But I may decide that I don't want to use effects unit 2 because I have different effects chains set up there. So I'll just deselect that. So you can toggle them on and off depending on how many effects units you want to assign to each deck. Underneath the effect assign button then we have our gain control. Again, if you're using auto gain on Traktor, what happens is that anytime you load in a track, Traktor will analyze your music and it will set an auto gain level. So it'll detect what boost or cut it needs to make in the volume of that track to normalize it to 0 dB. It sounds kind of complicated, but it's not really at all. But to set up this auto gain, you you just click in here. It's just really for your levels, you know. Your levels will be sort of automatically set every time your tracks are loaded if you have auto gain selected. This gain control here, if you do need to make adjustments, that's where you'll do it. You'll notice that there is a slight boost in the gain. That's because the auto gain has boosted the gain ever so slightly for me, so I shouldn't really need to make any adjustments there. And similarly on this deck, there has been a tiny little cut in the gain of the track again, which auto gain has been responsible for. The next button we have here is for previewing our track in the headphones. You will need a monitor with a preview out or a monitor out, a headphone out to actually use this feature here. You have a pan control here for each individual deck, so we can pan left or right depending on what sort of effect we want to do. And again, you have your plus and minus here also, and double click on the center of the rotary or whatever to reset that to 12 o'clock. Beneath that here in the bottom strip we have a crossfader. The crossfader can be controlled manually either by dragging with your mouse, or if you have it assigned to a MIDI controller, or it can be done automatically. So you can just click these buttons and it'll do it for you all in one foul swoop. To reset it back to the center, we double click on the crossfader itself. You can also crossfade in short little increments by using these buttons here. Now, one of the greatest things about this crossfader, it can be assigned to any number of decks that you have set up. So in our instance, we have it assigned to deck A and deck B. You'll see that A and B are highlighted here. But if I want to, if I'm using 4 decks, and I want the crossfader to control deck C, I just click there, and D, click there. So the crossfader's now on the left hand side, it's assigned to deck A and C, and on the right hand side it's assigned to deck B and D. So you know, great functionality there. Again, it's up to yourself, whatever way you want to set that up. The next thing that we're going to look at in our next video here on Traktor Pro is beat gridding, and how you set up perfect beat grids to get your auto loops and get all your syncing and your hot cues working perfectly for you.